So guys, now I have my neckline reconstructed. Okay, instead of the 2.5 inches I used for the neck width before, now I've used 2.75, so which means I've added 0.25 to the neck width, and I added 0.25 to the neck depth for the front and the back. So if you find yourself in this type of situation whereby the neckline you have on your pattern is lesser than the neckline measurement you are working with, all you need to do is to add to the neck width and the neck depth. So if you add to the neck width and the neck depth, you constructed the neckline is not enough as well, then you will keep on adding until you achieve your desired result. So this is the best route to go in order for you to be able to make a garment for all neck sizes. The standard measurement, as I said, is 2.5 inches by 2 inches. 2.5 inches for the width and 2.5 inches for the depth. So as you keep on doing this, when you have a client with neck circumference measurement of 17 inches, you will know the exact neck width measurement to use, and you will know the exact neck depth measurement to use. And if you have a neck circumference measurement below 15 inches, you will know what to use for the neck and the depth of the neckline. So as for me, I added 0.25 to the neck width and I added 0.25 to the neck depth, which helped me to achieve the exact neck circumference measurement of 15 inches. I took the measurement I have on the front neckline and I took the measurement I have on the back neckline. I added the two measurements together and I multiplied it by 2, which gives me exactly 15 inches for the neck circumference measurement. So this has to be settled before moving to the next step, so that when I get to the construction or attaching of collar, I will not have any issue. Now that we have the upper part constructed, the next step is to move to the lower part. Okay, in constructing the lower part, I will be inserting the back waist length. The back waist length measurement I'm working with is 18 inches. So I will take this measurement from the starting point line. So here is the 18 inches point. I have it there, and I will make a straight line. So now I will be connecting the dotted lines together. Okay, so I will label this line as the back waist line. Now that I have inserted the back waist length measurement, which is here, so the next step is to insert the waist circumference measurement on this line. Okay, when I was teaching you how to take the measurement, I did not take the waist circumference measurement because I want to use a standard formula in achieving the measurement. So with this formula, you will not have any issue with the stomach area being tight. In order not to have issues with the stomach area, what I usually do is I will subtract 2 inches from the chest circumference measurement I'm working with. The chest circumference measurement I took on the wearer is 38 inches. So I will subtract 2 inches from 38, which gives me 36 inches. Then I will be dividing the 36 inches by 4. Then the quarter of 36 will be inserted on the back waist length, because the waist area has to be fitted while the remaining part is flare downward. So in order to have a very good shape for the garment, I will have to make the waist area not too wide. 36 inches divided by 4 gives me 9 inches. And here is the point. Okay, so this is the 9 inches point. Now I have the waist measurement marked here, which is 9 inches. So the next step is to connect from the chest line to the waistline. So in connecting from the chest line to the waistline, I will not be making use of a straight ruler, but I will be making use of my very firm curve. So I will use the slightly curved side of the ruler, not the real curve, like so, because the side is not on a perfect straight line. So we need to achieve that slight curve we have at the side. So in order to achieve the slightly curve by the side, I will be making use of this part of my ruler. As you can see, the curvy side of my ruler is facing towards the center. the center front. You can see what I have here. So that is the positioning of the ruler. So I will place this like so, and I will connect so if the chest circumference measurement you are working with is 40 inches, you will subtract 2 inches from 40, then you will have 38 inches left. Then quarter of the 38 inches will be inserted on the back waist length. Okay, so not the measurement you have on the chest level, but the real chest circumference measurement you took on the wearer. So this is what we bring out the shape of the garment, except for a special request if the wearer wants it very wide. So if the wearer wants the garment to be very wide or loose, you can just take this straight down on a straight line from the chest level downward to the hemline, no shaping on the waist area. So guys, now I have the waist shaped. So the next step is to move to the garment length. So here is the garment length, and this is the hem allowance. So the hem allowance I added is 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches is enough as the hem allowance, except if your fabric is not enough and you are trying to manage it. So that is where you can use below 3.5 inches as your hem allowance. But 3.5 inches is the standard measurement used in hemming the lower parts of a male garment. So on the garment length, I will be inserting the hip circumference measurement. The hip circumference measurement of the wearer is 39 inches, but because this is a garment, I will not use the hip circumference measurement. So instead of using the hip circumference measurement, I will use the measurement I have on the chest level. So I will take this measurement like so. Here I have 12.625. So I will use exactly the measurement I have here on the garment length. So this is to make this free as much as possible. So on the garment length, I will insert 12.75. I'm using the measurement I have on the chest level because there are some cases whereby the wearer will not want the waist area to be shaped. It will prefer the garment to be on a straight line. So if I'm having the garment on a straight line, so definitely I will have the same measurement I have on the chest level on the garment length as well. So this is a standard measurement. Whatever you have on the chest level, insert it on the garment length. If you want to have the waist area shaped, insert the waist measurement. If you don't want the waist area shaped, then connect the chest level with a straight ruler downward to the garment length. Then you will have your garment on a straight line by the side. So now that I have this done, the next step is to connect from the waistline to the garment length. So I'm using my metal ruler in connecting this. So from the waist to the garment length. So as you can see, I'm not connecting to the hemline so that I will not have a shortage when I'm hemming the lower parts. So I will stop the connection on the garment length point. Guys, the garment pattern is ready. A male C&S garment pattern. The front and the back were drafted together, as you can see. So I have this as double, okay, the neckline and the armhole. So guys, now you need to know this. If you are drafting this directly on your fabric, you have to add your seam allowances before cutting out your fabrics. I will not add my seam allowance because I'm not drafting directly on my fabric. And also I have the front and the back patterns drafted together. Okay, I have the neckline for the front and the back, so I cannot add my seam allowance yet. I have the armhole for the front and the back drafted. I cannot add my seam allowance yet. I can add my seam allowance by the side, but I don't want to do that. I will cut out my pattern like so. Then when I'm ready to cut out my fabric, I will be adding my seam allowance separately on the back panel and separately on the front panel. So now, how much seam allowance do you need? You need 1/2 inch of seam allowance on the front neckline and on the back neckline. The seam allowance is what will be used in attaching the collar. If you don't have your seam allowance on the neckline will be too wide and it will not fit with the collar. Also, on the armhole area, half of an inch of seam allowance is needed on the front and the back armhole. So for the side, I can either add half of an inch of seam allowance or 1 inch of seam allowance. This depends on the excess fabrics I have. And I have my hem allowance added on the hem line already. So the next step is to cut out my pattern. Now in cutting out my pattern, I will start cutting from the hem line. Here is my garment length line and this is the hem allowance line. So now I will be folding in my hem allowance before cutting the side of my pattern. Okay. So now I have the hem allowance folded inward. Then I will be cutting the side of the pattern. So this is what I have for the hem allowance after folding it inward. Can you see? So by the time I fold this inward to hem, I will have it perfectly on both edges like so. So then I will proceed in cutting out the remaining part of the pattern. So I will leave the side, then I will move to the upper part. In cutting out the neckline area, I will be cutting out the back neckline only. So I will cut out the back neckline and I will cut out the back armhole. This is because the back neckline is not as deep as the front neckline. So if I cut out the back neckline, I will still have my front neckline on the pattern. And if I cut out the back armhole, I will still have my front armhole on the pattern. And the differences I have between the front and the back panels is the neckline and the armhole. So I will be cutting out the back neckline only and the back armhole only. After cutting my back panel out on my fabric, then I will now trim off the front neckline and the front armhole. So now I'm cutting out the back neckline. So as you can see, when I was cutting this, I have my allowance folded inward. So when you are cutting out your neckline, make sure you have your allowance folded inward, which is the placket allowance. You can see I have it folded inward like so. Then I will cut out the starting point line. This has to be on a straight line. Okay, so for the armhole, I will be cutting on the back armhole. Then I can continue cutting the remaining parts of the pattern. So guys, here is the final look of my pattern after cutting it out. You can see the lower part, the hem line, and this is what I have for the upper part. So far so good guys, we are done with this module. Let's meet in the next module where I will be taking you through the process of cutting out the fabrics, the front and the back, and putting them together. See you in class.